Well, congratulations. Welcome to fatherhood.
Thank you.
What's been the biggest surprise in these first 2 months?
Biggest surprise, hands down, I think, is I literally did not know that I could love a person that much. Like I do go home and what I've been telling people that don't have kids, I'm like, it's what everybody's telling you. You can't explain it until it actually happens to you. But what I do is he doesn't do anything. He just sits there and cries and sleeps. But I will rush home to go and I tell Katie, out of the way, I need to look at him. And I just sit there and I just look at him. And I'm like, and it surprised me so much, but it's so weird that you just look at him and you're like, you are so awesome.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, it is Tyler Reiss with the Buffalo Community Podcast. We've got another great episode lined up for you. We have a special guest today, but before we kind of go into his introduction and everything interesting about him, we need our introduction. I said introduction way too many times.
Agreed.
You think after 25 times I'd get a handle of this?
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Okay, here we are, episode 25, quarter century. We've been hanging on to Erik Olson for this exact episode.
Yep.
From the start.
When we put together the plan, it was, who do we want for our first, our 25th, our 100th, 25, that's a special one.
And who's going to fill in everywhere in between.
Yeah.
And we were nervous he would say no.
Yeah.
But we got him.
The first 8 times I said no.
Yeah, right.
You got me here.
Are you up to 25 yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Barely just made it.
Yeah. But 2009, graduated Buffalo High School.
Yep.
Husband of Katie, father of 2-month-old Roman.
Yes.
And a real estate agent.
All of those are correct.
Erik Olson.
Another real estate agent?
Right. Yeah.
I tried to do the clap track.
But Erik, kind of take us back to 2009 and bring us forward to today, to how you got here and
sure
who you are.
I think you could start a little bit further because you've been here your entire life. And
grew up here in Buffalo.
You've got some parents that have been in town, and they're probably going to be relatable as far as people knowing that as well.
Parents, grandparents. Me and pretty much all of my relatives have grown up here, lived here, moved back here after we leave. So that's what happened to me. I grew up here in Buffalo. My dad, Mark Olson, State Farm agent, has been here and working in the community for years. Before that, my grandpa, Eldon Olson, was in the community working for many years before that. So just the family's been here. What Tyler said is correct. I graduated, went to college, Concordia Moorhead, and spent 4 years there, 3 years after college working in Detroit Lakes and Fargo. Moved back to Buffalo because I wanted to get back around. We found out that we were driving back every weekend to come back, be back in Buffalo.
You found out?
At least it's a scenic and very nice drive.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I-94 the whole way is fantastic.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, we eventually moved back here, convinced Katie that she didn't need to go back to Sioux Falls to come to Buffalo, get back on the lakes all the time, and moved back here, worked a couple jobs, and then just last January started here as a real estate agent, and then joined Tyler and Al with the Hoekstra Reiss team just here in February.
Insert things on blast right now.
Yeah. Nice. Is this how you is this what you envisioned? I mean, you go to Concordia Moorhead and you think, I'm going to major in this and I'm going to do this for a living and I'm going to...
Not at all.
Not at all.
So what I did was I actually went to Concordia with pretty much what I tell people is I majored in track and field. I was on the track team there. That's how I met Katie. And I went to school because that's how you have to be on the track team. So I had no clue what I wanted to do after. I got the most general major that you can get of a communications major. I didn't even specify that down to, one of the narrower fields. I just said, I'm just communication. So started out with that and went and got first job actually lasted 4 years. That was the one that was in Fargo. Then worked at On-Site Lighting here in Buffalo. Wanted to get back to Buffalo, and they were a great place to work. But then realized that, well, I watched Tyler do his job. It looked really easy, and
It doesn't work that hard.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, that was actually a joke from another agent that said that once.
Sure.
So,
That said, Tyler doesn't work that hard.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, so it was something I've thought about a lot. I knew I didn't want to do it in Fargo and Detroit Lakes because I didn't want to be up there on the weekends or even just
Ever.
yeah, ever. So I was coming back all the time. I'm like, it would be a terrible place to start a business. And so I got back here, and then Tyler actually helped me and Katie buy our first home. And it was just kind of, as we were looking to sell, I started asking him questions about what does it take to be an agent? What should I be looking into? Took the classes, and that was the next step. And then came and shadowed him and Al. And after I shadowed, it still was a month or two of decision making, thinking, all right, is this what I want to do? Are we in a position for me to be able to do this? And just made the leap.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people don't know about being a real estate agent is that it's not something you send in an application, you get hired, and you start earning a paycheck and making money. I mean,
Yeah.
Like literally anybody could do it if they can take 90 hours worth of classwork and pass a state and federal test, which the bar is pretty low on that. If you can read a question and have some common sense, the bar is pretty low to get into real estate. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
But-
It was the most that I've studied for a test in a while, but I can't say that I studied that much. And it was passed first try.
And don't discount that. Again, most of the stuff you get in real estate school, you don't use again
Right.
a whole lot. I hope the Department of Commerce isn't listening.
Yeah.
We're going to get audited right after this, but it's all boots on the ground. You're in town. You're learning about people. It's really communicating with people. It's very little classroom, little paperwork, and then just kind of taking care of everybody else's stuff. So, but you're exactly right. Jumping right in, and so thanks for submitting that application.
Yeah.
Let's jump back to your time at Concordia. You majored in track,
Yep.
and from my understanding, is you hold at least one school record there.
It used to be 2. It got narrowed down to 1. Technically, they consider the indoor season and the outdoor season 2 separate sports, and so I held the indoor pole vault record and the outdoor pole vault record. The indoor pole vault record was broken. I still have the outdoor, which is what I consider to be the good one because it's still the overall record. I still have the highest height in Concordia
Oh,
history.
sweet.
So
Okay.
no one has beat the overall height yet, whether indoor or outdoor.
Sure.
There you go.
Are there factors that actually do make a difference between vaulting indoors and outdoors?
There's a lot of
I mean, obviously, wind could, you get a really windy day. And
wind is really the biggest factor.
Yeah.
Temperature, kind of like anything else, the temperature is going to control how, I guess, the flex of the pole. So as I'm going down the runway, like on a hot, sunny day, I might be able to jump on a bigger pole than if it were, a cooler day. So indoors, that factor is always the same. It's always consistent. I liked jumping indoors because there was never those factors to worry about. It was always the same temperature. You never had wind. So I always jumped better indoors.
Does it ever get cold in Concordia?
Occasionally,
Okay.
from like October to March.
How about wind?
Wind, yeah, we have that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if there's one thing that there's a few things. I always tell people, like, I might be the world's greatest race car driver, but I'll never know because I never tried it. And pole vaulting would be right there where, it's possible that I could have been an Olympian in pole vaulting.
Possible.
How many Olympians are built like this?
Shot
Pole
players.
vaulters? All right.
You put it on your business card anyway.
Yeah, right.
World record.
Yeah.
Pole
So,
vaulter, question mark?
right. I would imagine I would have been pretty good pole vaulter. I'll never know.
Yeah. We were just talking about that. Most humble person in Buffalo.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a really neat skill. I mean, that is I bet 1% of the population cannot pole vault.
Yeah, I'd agree. And it's very unique in the sense that
I bet 99% of the population can't pole vault.
Yes.
Yeah. But definitely 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's It's very unique. And what's really nice about that is I've been able to come back to Buffalo now, and I can coach a track team because there's nobody else that knows how to coach pole vaulters.
Sure.
And so I've been able to coach there, which has been, I love to do it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so there are things like that where it opens opportunities where, you get, it's just one of those unique events that very few people do or have studied.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. Just difficult to coach because they're free spirits or a little bit crazy and reckless?
Mostly technique.
Okay.
But yeah, I would agree with the second part of that one, maybe a little bit reckless. You get a few people. I did coach a kid a couple years ago where I had to tell him, I'm just like, just stop. You're going to kill yourself if you keep doing this. I said, we need to learn correct technique before you start just, running as fast as you can and throwing yourself in the air. And we did that.
Yeah, nice.
He now runs the 4x100.
Right. Yeah.
We got kicked out.
Well, I the reason I ask is knowing you for a few years now, you are a little bit crazy in the extreme sports area.
Yes.
Can I have Amanda grab your skijoring backflip off your wall?
Sure.
Amanda, can you grab that? One, you always seem to be doing something on the lake, being towed by a power something.
Motors make
skis.
everything more fun.
Yes, motors and waters, which is kind of amazing to me because I am not that way. One of maybe the most surprising ones, you came into the office and your face was so swollen. He goes, yeah, I was barefooting and you pancaked. That's Erik doing a backflip, being pulled behind a horse. Can you... Well, we'll put a picture up of it as well. Here, I'll grab this here.
See, that's another thing I might have been really good at, but I'll never know.
Yeah.
Skijoring.
What made you want to do that?
I would have to definitely give credit to my cousin Michael. He was the one that looked it up, and I probably wouldn't have done it if he wasn't the one to initiate that. But yeah, then once you get it, it's like, well, we ski all the time. We have so much family that is involved with horse sports, and we just go, let's put them together. And it just makes sense. It seems like something we'd be good at. And then, we show up and we do pretty well. We hold our own. So there are people that do it like actual professionally that travel around the country to these events. So we have lost to them, unfortunately. We'll beat them one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully in one piece. But I don't think I'd ever do that. I got trampled on from a horse as a kid one time, and I don't think I'll ever get back on one. So
it's really easy. You just hold on to a rope. And so she decided the speed. I just held on.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So a little bit of activities. You like to do things outdoors. New baby in the family.
Yep.
How's that been? Congratulations. Welcome to fatherhood.
Thank you.
What's been the biggest surprise in these first 2 months?
Biggest surprise, hands down, I think, is I literally did not know that I could love a person that much. Like I had go home and what I've been telling people that don't have kids, I'm like, it's what everybody's telling you. You can't explain it until it actually happens to you. But what I do is he doesn't do anything. He just sits there and cries and sleeps. But I will rush home to go and I tell Katie, out of the way, I need to look at him. And I just sit there and I just look at him. And I'm like, it surprised me so much, but it's so weird that you just look at him and you're like, you are so awesome.
Yeah. He came out, I feel the same way of my own kids. I don't have that feeling of other kids, but my own for sure. And there's a little bit of surprise when he was born.
Yeah.
And when you texted me a picture, the very first picture you sent me was of...
I would have to, I don't know for sure, but is that the extra toe?
That is the extra toe.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's usually a picture of the face, at least.
Yeah. Well, he had two surprises, and one was the umbilical cord, too. So that was the big surprise. Two big surprises, I guess it would be. So, but yeah, no, Katie's family, genetically inferior.
I thought you were joking when you didn't say that.
No, so Katie's family, it runs in her family that extra digits on the hands and feet. And so Katie was born with 6 fingers on each hand. And so she still has a couple little nubs on each side. And so Roman was born with a 6th toe on one of his feet and a 6th finger on one of his feet. the six finger doesn't quite qualify as much, and I might not even mention that one.
No.
Because it was pretty much just a little hair with a skin tag on the end. Okay. And they said it probably died, week 30.
Oh, sure.
And so they just took a scissors to that and cut it off. But the extra toe was alive and well. Mm-hmm. Full toenail was there and everything. And so but there was no bone. So the interesting and maybe a little bit gross thing about that is they just take a string and they tie it around that, cut off the circulation, and they wait for a week for it to fall off.
Oh my God.
And it essentially, it just shriveled up to what looked like a little raisin, and it was black. And I was just waiting for it to fall off. I wanted to see it. And Katie brought him to the 1 week follow up, and they said, well, let's tie it tighter. And they tied it tighter and just popped off. Oh. So I never got to see the toe separate from his body.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Bummer. Another reasons I don't like raisins.
That was the reason?
Yeah. Plenty of reasons for that.
Just a flavor for me.
Perfect health. Before we get into this week's speed round of getting to know everybody just a little bit better, I want to thank everybody for sharing it, watching it, liking it, commenting on all of our videos. I do invite you to go and check them out on any podcast platform that you've got, including Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're also featured on PodMN. That's an app. If you can go and download that and then subscribe to the Buffalo Community Podcast, we'd really appreciate it. And if you get an enjoyment out of it, tell a friend about it and share and enjoy. It helps us get more exposure for the great community that we live in. But now let's learn a little bit more about Erik, and this is more of a pulling out some personality questions here. You've got some questions. Mark's got some questions. I'll make something up as we come along. But do you have something teed up to get to know
yes.
Erik a little bit more?
Kind of curious to know, Erik, what is a seemingly innocent question that you feel is like a loaded question or that scares you?
How far along are you?
Yeah.
I learned that with Katie.
Yeah.
No. And a seemingly innocent question.
That's a fair
I actually think that's a great answer.
Yeah, I was just say that's a really tough one to come up with on the spot.
Yeah.
For me is, hey, what are you doing this weekend?
You stole mine.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
That is.
What are you doing this weekend?
Why?
Back surgery on Friday, just in case you're moving.
Yeah. No, shoot.
That's what I was literally going to say is, can you help me move?
I have an extra behind the plate ticket to the Twins game. I was hoping you could come, but shoot, that surgery. Well, I could maybe.
Well, I'm getting released at 5.
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was going to invite you to the Twins game. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah. What are you doing Friday?
No, I was literally the response that I was thinking after you mentioned that was, can you help me move? Such a simple question, but that's an all-day commitment.
Yep. Right.
Do you have one teed up?
Yeah, this one could be for both of you guys because I actually think it fits well with the comment about humility from earlier.
Sure.
What do you think you're much better at than you actually are?
Oh, making people laugh. I have a high opinion of myself on laughter, but I'm probably not as funny as most people think. But because I think I'm really funny. So even though if you're laughing, I think I'm much funnier than that.
Right.
So
you didn't laugh hard enough.
Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good question. I'm probably, is a boring answer. Probably not as good at slow pitch softball as I think I am.
But it's so important in your life.
I know. I left frustrated, showing up thinking you're going to be the best player on the field, and then you realize, just not anymore. Well, not that I ever was, but.
I like that. What about you?
Oh, I wasn't prepared for that to come back around.
Oh, we always turn it around on them.
All right. Well, then I've got good stories for my next question. And I would have to say I think it might be mountain biking to go along with the extreme sports thing. It's one of those things. I've got a really nice bike. I like to go out. I've done enough of it to where I think I'm pretty good at it. I watch YouTube videos, and I went out last week and I hit a couple jumps. I'm like, I'm no more than like a foot in the air, and I still got off centered. Like,
Sure.
just getting, I don't know. Feel like
Don't worry, as you get older, typically those skills get better. You know, your athleticism.
Yes,
and
that's what I.
Where'd you
that's what I
go,
expected.
Bertram? Or
Yeah, I went to Bertram.
yeah, I was there. I just got a new bike. We should talk.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I've only gone to the beach there. Sorry, I'm not a mountain biker.
It's so much fun.
What is a current trend that's happening now that you hope continues?
Current trend.
That's
I have to think of current trends then.
Yeah. That's a terrible question.
Well, I did have something in mind that I was going to turn to real estate again. Current real estate trend is, the white trim, the grays and everything. I really like it. And from what I've heard from other people is that's starting to go away. And I don't see why we would go away from it. Like and again, it might just be that boring answer that has to do with real estate, but if people are saying we're going away from white trim and a lot of the new construction stuff has white trim, I'm like, man, we should keep that around a little bit longer. One, I like it. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
So.
And how nice is it to go to Menards or your home improvement shop of choice and be able to like bypass all the palettes and going, yellow, blue, white, gray. Boom,
Yep.
let's go.
Or if you have cabinets and you want to, like your kitchen cabinets, and you just want to change the color, you don't have to replace the entire kitchen. You paint them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you've done a pretty incredible job on your current house. You kind of flipping it, but quite handy. So good job for that. My current trend that's happening right now, probably none of them. Just take a look at 2020. I don't want anything to be the same. But do you have one lined up for that as far as current trends?
Yeah, I would say that we've done a really good job of eating as a family throughout, kind of the silver lining of everything. I've enjoyed that. We haven't been coming home from work, running out the door to a baseball game, coming home from work, running to here or there. It's been a little more chill. And so that I would love to be able to maintain. Realistic or not, well, probably not while kids are, involved in activities and whatnot. But It's been very much.
You guys had both really nice family things to say. I love you, my family. Jenny, Charlie, Sawyer, Emma. You guys have really nice
What's your
things to
face?
say already.
Yeah,
It's like, come on.
Jenny,
you,
Sawyer,
the family.
all of you.
The family.
I love all you so much.
Yeah. Who's got the next question? Next up.
I think I've got a good one.
All
All right. Do you eat food that's past its expiration date if it still smells and looks fine?
Yes, usually.
Usually. Does that happen a lot?
But certain things I won't, and I don't know if there's a rhyme or a reason to it. And it depends on how
We're
much
talking
after.
a week or a month?
Sure.
I'll read the ingredient list.
A day if it's milk, a month if it's bread.
No one.
If
no
bread
on both
isn't
of
moldy, I mean, if it's not moldy, I'll eat it.
those. Yeah.
I'll usually read the ingredients and determine if there's any ingredient that expires. Like say there's a vinaigrette dressing and it's a month expired. Well, what in that vinaigrette dressing is going to? It's
Expired.
vinegar and it's
Oil. Yeah.
oil, and I think legally there probably has to be an expiration date on there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it actually means anything. Deli meat?
No?
No, maybe a day or two. But
Yeah.
deli meat's going to get pitched.
Yeah. I'm a hard no on any of them.
Okay.
I'm a hard no on that. It's a mental blocker. You think it might smell fine, but you're like,
Does it?
When you have to ask somebody, does this smell to you? I don't like that. No, a mental blocker. But you said you had an interesting story, so I'm kind of the type of garbage food you're eating.
Well, so one, you could ask Katie that I do eat a lot of questionable things, and just because I tell her I'm just like, my gut is fine. I'll be good. So maybe I have the opposite mentality where I tell myself I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But no, it was so it was right after college. I had no idea how to cook. Literally no idea. I turned burners on high because I said, why would I want my food to cook slower? Well, I found out that it just burned it and then the inside would still be frozen. So I had no idea how to cook. And so what I did was I had made spaghetti. And when I was done with the spaghetti sauce, I didn't know it needed to be refrigerated. Stuck it back in the cabinet and waited X amount of days. Who knows what it was. I pulled it out. It was both expired and unrefrigerated. But I had already cooked my noodles and I had browned the hamburger meat, and I had opened the jar, poured it on the meat, and when I did that, I looked and there was mold growing around the inside of it. And I was like, I am like 2 weeks out of college. I have not received my first paycheck yet. I have literally no money. Like I called mom and said, can I have $50? That was like 2 days before. I said, I need something to hold me over to my first paycheck. I had no money. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
this is like $4 hamburger meat. I'm not throwing it away. I just covered it with moldy spaghetti sauce. So
Oh my God.
I said, well, I didn't hit the moldiest part of the jar when I poured it in. So I stirred it all up and I put it on my noodles and I ate my spaghetti.
So good.
And I hated my job so much. I said, well, on the plus side, at least if I get food poisoning, I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, that is so horrible.
And
I can't imagine.
so I ate it and I put it in the Ziploc container and I had it for lunch the next day.
That's even worse. Oh my gosh.
So,
But you're doing fine now.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm doing
Yeah.
just fine.
It's fine.
And
He's a better man for it.
yeah, and Katie cooks for us now most of the time. If I do, it's microwaving chicken nuggets. But
Oh, you
Katie
don't even do them in the oven.
well, we're
You
usually
can?
running. If
the only
I'm
way to do it.
cooking, it's usually because we're running short on time.
Sure.
So that's
If you're cooking, something has gone terribly wrong.
So we need food quick. Yeah, we need food quick. So
I can't even think after after that. And probably the kicker to the story is that you ate leftovers of that.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Must have been some good spaghetti sauce.
No, I was poor.
Was good spaghetti sauce.
Yep.
Well, do you remember the brand?
No.
I have a good story, but I don't know.
I do remember it was the stuff that had the mini meatballs in it because I wanted it extra meaty in addition to the hamburger. So that's all I can remember.
I'm silently judging you right now.
No, you're not. You've been judging me out loud this whole time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're not silent.
Being pretty verbal about it.
I have another question for you because I know you like to travel. You said you hadn't been out of the country until this last year on your honeymoon, which took you to Hawaii. Where is the most beautiful place you've traveled? Is that the way? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the most amazing place in nature you've been.
Man, it's tempting just to say Hawaii just because that's what
Foreign
the common answer is. But
Foreign country and all.
yeah. No, you should eat the food there. It's crazy. No, I would still have to go. Katie and I on our honeymoon and another trip. We flew into California. We went and traveled kind of up the coast, but went and hit the national parks in there. And just between Sequoia National Park, where you've got trees that are, and I think they said they were 33 feet in diameter, is some of those, and they were just enormous. And you get into Yosemite National Park where you drive through this tunnel and it just opens up into Yosemite Valley, and there are just waterfalls coming down that are a half mile tall. You have cliffs that are 3,000 feet. It's just one of those things that you feel like you're on a different planet when you get in there, and it is so cool. And it's one of those things that, yeah, Hawaii was beautiful. It was awesome, but you kind of just look at, I can't look past those national parks in California and go, they're just not much better than it.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
Now I want to go.
Yep.
So do
Need
I.
a passport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a beautiful nature area?
Friday Harbor in the San Juan Islands is really, really nice in the Puget Sound.
That was all Greek to me. Where is that?
So San Juan Islands are out in the Pacific Northwest, Washington.
Okay. Sure.
And you ferry out there, and they have just their own little towns and villages and shops, and I mean, total tourist, but it's
Very cool.
it's a pretty neat area. That's probably the coolest place I've.
Yeah. Not that it helps on the podcast, but I'm going to put some photos of Yosemite and then that.
Friday Harbor.
Friday Harbor,
Yep.
Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
That was probably 7 Mile Beach in Jamaica.
Okay.
It was perfect. But
I thought for sure you were going to say Lake Vermilion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty close, but yeah, 7 Mile Beach. You'll see the photo right here.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question?
You got one more teed up, don't you?
Sure.
I have a bad one, but we don't need bad questions.
All right. I thought this one would be funny between you two. What's your back in my day saying?
No big deal. Not gonna lie. And I think that's really from Anchorman. Is that what you're talking about? Like a catchphrase?
I guess I didn't know if it was going to be a catchphrase. What I pictured was you saying, well, back in my day, we used to.
Oh, yeah. We used to ride our bikes until it got dark out.
Yeah.
You know,
that
stuff
kind
like
of
that.
saying. Yeah.
So we used to play night games.
Yep.
Back in my day, we used to play night games. Were you ever part of that?
I think one night it was.
Alcatraz or Ollie Ollie Oxenfree. But I mean, there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood, which I don't think I'd ever let my kids do this now. I mean, it's dark in the summer at 10 o'clock. And we're playing in everybody's backyards, hiding in everybody's backyards. It's basically hide and go seek. Kick the can. You ever play that? Man, back in my day, we played kick the can.
Yeah. Back in my day, and we used to play pickup baseball.
Yep.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Used to go to Lions Park and get 5 or 25 guys up to Lions Park, and you'd play ball all day.
Yeah.
And then do it again the next day, or whatever. So I think sandlot baseball is gone forever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it is
Pretty cool.
something that I would love to come back.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's your back in the day? You're kind of still in your day, you young pup.
Not that much younger, but
To me, you are.
no, I would have to say it's very similar to that of back in my day. We used to, scrape our knees and nobody cared. Like, and I'd come home bloody. If it was a broken arm or something, yeah, we went to the hospital. But
The next day.
it was.
Walk it off.
I broke my ankle, and I think we waited the weekend to see if it was better.
Well, yeah.
Which actually, that would lead to one more really funny story of my brother Tommy. So Tommy growing up, his driver's permit literally says 5 foot 85 pounds. He was tiny up, yeah. So 5 foot 85 pounds. He was driving cars. So Tommy's just this little guy, and so we're up at the cabin on Lake Vermilion, and we were cutting down a pine tree. So my dad or my grandpa went up and they had tied a rope up high in the tree and had brought it across the yard so that we could pull on it when they started cutting to get it away from the house. So me and my cousin Michael are kind of sitting there pulling on it, and we were watching the middle of the rope snap up. And so we're like, hey, Tommy, why don't you grab right there in the middle of that rope? And so we pull the first one. He goes up a few feet, and we kind of laugh and go, oh, yeah, that's fun. So me and Michael turned to each other. We're like, all right, let's really pull on this one.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, grab onto that rope again. And we took off like running with it over our shoulders and get to the end and just like snap it. And he was like, no exaggeration, I think my parents even said he was 10, 12 feet in the air, came down on his arm and broke his arm. But it's soft enough ground that we didn't really know it. And so he waits, like we go the rest of our long weekend at the cabin, and he's just like, yeah, my arm kind of hurts. It doesn't feel right. And
Shut up, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
You do not ruin a cabin trip with an arm hurt story.
Yeah. And so then we make it, I think it was like Monday, we're at home, and he's like, man, my arm hurts. And then he's running around soccer practice on like Tuesday. So this is like 5 days later. He's running around soccer practice on Tuesday like this, and my dad goes, man, maybe we should take him in.
Yeah, checked out.
Bring him in. Yeah, sure. It was a broken arm. It was just In my parents' defense, it was just a little hairline fracture that they said probably would have just healed on its own anyway.
So it wasn't
Right.
even that bad, Tommy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was being a wimp, but no, I just thought it was funny that, yeah, it was, broken bones where, well, let's see what it looks like in the next day. Or you get a big scrape and it goes, yeah, we'll cover it up. And I've even had cuts now where it happens. And if it's in front of someone I know, they're just like, you need to put disinfectant on that. You need to wrap it up. And it's like,
You need to calm
it's
down.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little cut.
Right.
So it's just, I think that would be the back in my day. And,
Yep.
maybe we're better off for it. Maybe we're healthier now, but, it's a lot of maintenance.
But nonetheless,
You're going
Yeah.
to limp a whole lot. But,
yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I think, being put on the spot, you got to come up with something, but a lot has changed from.
for sure. Well, Eric, I can't thank you enough for coming into the office today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for making the trip.
The 10 feet over from my door.
Yep. This has been a great interview and get to know you a little bit better. And if people can come out and contact you because you are a local business person, Erik
I would
Olson,
appreciate
Edina
it.
Realty. But for the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
Mark Benzer.
Erik Olson.
Almost forgot the music.
Well, that was a lot better than the Mark and Tyler show.
Oh,